Well, we sold a car today at auction and it was not pretty. You know what? It was so pretty that I don't even want to even do this video right now. So we're gonna wait till the morning.
Early the next morning.
Every time we buy a car, you know, the biggest thing is we have to have an exit strategy. We have to have a way to sell the car, presumably for profit. And obviously as a business, the whole idea is to be here and to make a profit. So with every single one of my vehicles, when we purchase them, we have what's called an exit strategy. We look at the market supply of this car. We look at how fast it takes them to sell. Yes, how fast it takes them to sell, because we don't want cars sitting here longer than 20 days. And then we look at our exit strategy as who do we think would buy this car? Is it gonna be somebody who's a cash buyer? Is it somebody who's going to finance? Is this gonna be somebody who maybe doesn't have the best credit and we need to help them with that financing? So, but when you make two huge mistakes on one car and that cost you over $8,500, this hurts. So you guys remember the Kia Sorento that we bought, the 2016, you know, I tried to drive it to the auction. I brought it back here because I wasn't gonna get very far. I knew that as soon as I started driving it.
Alrighty, we're taking the Kia over to a different auction. I don't know if we're gonna make it.
Well, I had that car for quite a bit of time, and we just couldn't sell it. It was brutal. Oh my goodness gracious! This is a difficult video. So I took this Kia Sorento over to a local independent auction to just run it through as is. Whoever wants to get it can have it, and they can deal with the problem. And of course, we ran that through the sale the first time, and it did not sell. And it didn't even get a bid on it, which was very disheartening because I contacted the auction. I'm like, listen, it was on the auction block for 20 seconds. How are we gonna sell a car in 20 seconds? It doesn't work that way. So they ran it again the next week and we got a bid on the car for $4,500. I'm like, no, I own this car for $13,000. So not gonna sell it for that. So I ran the car through the auction one more week. So now we're 3 weeks. And that's when I learned that, you know, cars go stale at auction. The same people bid every single week and they see these cars go through, like, oh, it didn't sell last week, it didn't sell the week before, oh, they're running this again. And now we're just screwed because people know, why is nobody bidding on this car? There must be something wrong with it. And they don't buy it. They don't bid on it. It just sits there. It's my problem. But maybe we should just back up just a little bit. And that would be that we bought this 2016 Kia Sorento from Atlanta, Georgia. We do what's called a pre-sale inspection. And that means that, hey, listen, the auction is going to look over the car. They're going to guarantee the car. And most importantly, it gives us just a little bit more time to look over the car to ensure that there's no issues. So when the car gets here, I pop the hood, I start looking at it, and I immediately see that the reservoir has popped. And I have the car running at this point. I'm hearing some funny noises out of the engine, and I look at the exhaust pipe and there's exhaust coming out on a 90-degree day. And I'm like, there's an issue here. There's a problem. And that's when I walked right back out here. I got Rich and I said, Rich, will you come look at this? This looks a little funny. I'm not too sure about this. So Rich looks at it and says, hey, listen, there's a head gasket problem. You don't want this car. I said, can we fix the head gasket problem? Now, mind you, I've never dealt with a Kia before. Rich deals with highline cars like Bentleys, Ferraris, Porsche, stuff like that. So he doesn't deal with Kias. And yeah, we eventually found out about that GDI engine issue. Now, of course, I didn't know about this GDI engine issue. And to be honest with you, when I see or hear head gasket problems, like, hey, we can fix this, it's not that big of a deal. Been in the car business a long time. I've seen many times that a head gasket has been fixed. So contacted the auction. It was like, hey, listen, we'll give you $2,500 to replace the head gasket. And I talked to Rich. I'm like, what do you think? Is $2,500 a good deal? He says, yeah, we can do that for $2,500. we were way wrong. That's when we discovered that, yeah, you can't really fix the head gaskets on the GDI engines. And now we're back up to speed on where I took this to auction that ran it through 3 times. And, you know, we just had to be done at this point. So what do? I take an Uber over to that auction. And I'm going to take it to the other auction where it's not stale. Nobody knows it's been through the auction. And then I go pick up the vehicle. And it's almost dead. And of course, I didn't bring this with me. They do have them around the auction right here, to use. But luckily, it started. And I'm like, phew, thank goodness. I'm gonna go get over to the auction with no problem. And then that's when I go to try to put it in gear, and it's locked in gear. I put my foot on the brake, I try to shift it. It doesn't work. I'm like, what is going on? Luckily, the has a little lever there that you open up with your key, and I can push that down there and get it to shift that way. It's a shift on lock button. Thank goodness, because now I drove it over to the other auction, and that's when more problems happen.
Alrighty, we're taking the Kia over to a different auction. I don't know if we're gonna make it.
I sent that video to Rich and my wife as a joke, but it was no joke. I was sitting in a car that I owned for quite a bit of money. I mentioned $13,000 earlier. That's after the auction gave me $2,500 to fix this head gasket. We can keep laughing. We do get it over there to the auction and pull it in. I check it in, shut it off, because I don't want the engine to blow up right there in the auction lane, right? Didn't run the next week that it was supposed to run because they couldn't get it started. They probably couldn't get it out of gear. I'm like, oh no. 3 more weeks goes by, right? And they didn't run it the 1 week. They ran it the next week through the main sale. And then the 3rd week, they ran it through the main sale. It didn't sell. And they ran it through the salvage title auction sale. And that's when we sold it. So you can see that's what we owned the car for right there. We sold it for this right here, and we have now officially lost $8,000 on this vehicle. So of course I shared this stuff with you because nobody in the history of the car industry has ever shared with you behind the scenes of what goes on to day-to-day operations. This is the risk I take by putting my name on the front of the building, by signing the front of the checks. This is the risk that we take. And I'm glad to take this risk because over the last 10 months, I absolutely love what I'm doing. It's an enjoyment. We have gotten our first car to give away that you'll see here in the future. And the biggest thing to remember is I've always taught you guys to sit here and build relationships. And that's what I've done over the last 10, 11 months is build relationships. The person that I bought this car from actually reached out to me after seeing the problems that I had. And we've built a relationship over the last 91 days that I've had this car. And once I sold it for $5,500 and lost $8,000 on it, he actually wrote me a check for $4,500, which is absolutely amazing. He did not have to do that. And this is why I will continue to do business with this wholesaler in the future. But before you leave this video, you guys know that I grew up relying on the church giving us toys for Christmas. So my passion is to help kids to have an enjoyable Christmas. So that's why I teamed up with Toys for Tots. Last video, I lifted this box up empty. Francesca, what are you doing there? And now look at it. In 1 week, we got this full. But our goal is 1 million toys. So if you want to donate a toy to Toys for Tots, either drop it off here at the store or just hop on Amazon and ship it to us. I'll link to the address in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much in advance for helping us make a child smile this Christmas season.